Hi everyone, it's Chris and welcome back to another video. It's great to have you along. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and I'd love it if this video earns your subscription. And if you're a regular to the channel, welcome back. Your continued support is gratefully appreciated, so thank you. Today I'm going to continue with my series of favourite fives, where I share my favourite 5 studio albums from any one band or artist and my favourite songs by that band or artist. And today's choice is Rush, Canadian three-piece formed in probably late 60s, first did an album in 73 and then continued until a few years back when sadly their drummer Neil Peart died. But I've got 5 albums for you today, my favourite 5 and then 5 songs. So tell me what you think in the comments below. What are your favourite albums and songs by this great band? So at number 5 in the albums, we've got 78's Hemispheres. I love the cover of this, love the colour and the picture. It's done by Hugh Syme. The cover, this is on Anthem Records, so a Canadian version of it. Side 1 is very proggy. It's called Cygnus X1 Book 2, a continuation of Cygnus X1, which was on Farewell to Kings. More about that in a moment. On side 2 we've got Circumstances, which is a less than 4-minute song, which kind of signalled the direction of travel potentially the band were going to go into in the future as a shorter song. A song called The Trees, which is one of their famous songs. I always thought it was about tensions between sort of Britain and Canada. I don't know if it's that deep. And then the last song is an instrumental, their first ever instrumental, called La Via Strangiato, which according to the notes underneath or in the middle of the album, it says an exercise in self-indulgence. It certainly was that, but it's absolutely classic, divided into 12 different parts, some of which is kind of influenced by jazz and so on, but is a showpiece for the talents of the band. It came with a poster, which I used to have on my bedroom wall, and I managed to see them twice on that tour, once at Hammersmith Odeon and then again in Southampton, which was much nearer to where I lived at the time. I think this band were great, a superb band, brilliant musicians, great live acts as well. And that's my number 5, Hemispheres in 78. My 4th favourite album is from 76 and it's 2112. Now, the album before this was called Caress of Steel and it wasn't very good, and I think the record company put them under pressure to produce something a bit more commercial. They ignored that but produced something that was commercially much more successful, and it's this album, often seen as one of their finest albums, a kind of prog rock classic in many ways. This again is on Anthem Records. It's the first time that we saw the Starman surface as a piece of artwork, which became a kind of a logo for the band. Side 1 is quite proggy. It's got 7 parts to it. The opening part, Overture, is just a brilliant way to start the album. Great guitar work from Alex Lifeson, who I think is a hugely underrated guitar player. And then side 2 is less serious, A Passage to Bangkok, which I think is about drugs. Twilight Zone, Lessons, Tears, which is a great ballad, and then Something for Nothing to finish the album. But that's my number 4 albums out of the 5. At third place is 77's Farewell to Kings. I was lucky enough to see them on this tour. I saw them on the last date of the tour in 1978. I was in the 4th year at school. I think the Tyler Gang supported them on that particular, there's the Starman, supported them on that tour. They were excellent. It was the first time I ever saw them. This is a decent album, really decent album. The title track is good. In Xanadu, which has got this beautiful build up and some just an increased amount of synthesizers in their music, but it's a great song, superb live. Closer to the Heart opens up side 2. That was a single for them, which I bought just after I saw them. A concert favourite, actually. A short song. It's less than 3 minutes, but a good song. Cinderella Man, brilliant guitar solo on that, love it. Madrigal, and then Cygnus X1, a kind of a sci-fi song, which was continued on Hemispheres. Lyrics by Neil Peart, always really quite complex and deeply rooted in kind of, mythology and so on. So that's my number 4. 3. At number 2 out of my 5, going to 1980's Permanent Waves. I love this album. I bought it on day of release, and I remember going into the record shop and blagging the the advertising poster from the shop as well. I remember having that on my wall at home. But this is a great album. Some kind of reggae new wave influences in this. They had a great single success with this, with Spirit of Radio, which opens the album, which is a great song. It's got a kind of a reggae vibe to it halfway through. Free Will, Jacob's Ladder, which is a tremendous song. Entre Nous, Different Strings, and Natural Science. Really good album. Again, lots of kind of proggy moments in it in many ways, complex lyrics, you know, interesting themes and so on. I remember seeing them on that tour. I saw them on the Permanent Waves tour. I think Max Webster were the support band on that. I managed to pick up a really nice lyric booklet as well on that tour. So good stuff at number 2. And then at number 1, my favourite album by them is 1981's Moving Pictures, which is often seen as their classic. I think commercially it was their most successful album. Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, YYZ, an instrumental which is called YYZ. I think that's the letters associated with one of the airports, or the airport at Toronto. And if you do YYZ on Morse code, that's the rhythm that instrumental song is played at. It's a song called Limelight, which is all about life on the road and being in the band and being in the limelight. Tremendous song, great live song too. And then the second side, we've got The Camera Eye, which was the last time they did a really long song on any studio album. That's just over 10 minutes long, and that's the last time a 10-minute plus song appeared on any of their albums. Then Witch Hunt and Vital Signs. And in Vital Signs, we've got that kind of police influence as well coming in to their sound. It's kind of reggae influenced. Tremendous album. Again, saw them on that tour. Just a brilliant live band. So that's my favourite album by Rush. So what are my favourite songs? So at number 5, I have gone with a song from this album. It's a song that is their last long song, the one I've just mentioned, The Camera Eye. First time that they really pushed the synthesizer sound, almost more than guitars. Just a tremendous song. I absolutely adore it. Always loved it. I think for me it's the highlight of this album, and it's my 5th favourite song by Rush. At number 4, I've gone back to their first album when they were much more of a kind of a blues rock, kind of Led Zeppelin sounding band. They had John Rutsey on the drums, the only album not to feature Neil Peart. He had health problems and didn't like touring. I think he had diabetes, type 1 diabetes, and was unable to tour, so dropped out of the band, and Neil Peart came in. But this album is tremendous, very different to the others, obviously lyrically very different, but you know, great musicianship even from an early doors really. And my 4th favourite song appears on this album. It's the last track on the album, and I think it's the last song they ever played live, and that's Working Man. And right at the centre of that is the brilliant guitar work of Alex Lifeson, hugely underrated guitarist. At number 3, we're going back to the 1980s Hemispheres album, and the song that closes up side 1, which is called Jacob's Ladder. I just love the rhythm of that. It's just so Rush-like, it's just brilliant. And that's my 3rd favourite song. Adore that song. At number 2 is from Farewell to Kings, a song that live just absolutely came alive, although I thought it was brilliant in the studio as well. This fantastic build up to the song Xanadu, just a masterpiece for the song. Prog rock classic in many ways, certainly a Rush classic, and that's my 2nd favourite song by Rush. And my favourite song by them appears on my 5th favourite album by them, and it's the song that closes Hemispheres, and it's their first ever instrumental. The Exercise in Self-Indulgent, the 12-part instrumental that starts with Spanish guitar and then goes into just an amazing kind of instrumental that showcases the brilliance of all the members of the band, but at the heart of it, again, is the guitar talent of Alex Lifeson, who we should be talking about in the same vein, I think, as Jimmy Page and Ritchie Blackmore and people like that. I just think he was brilliant. And my favourite song by them is La Via Strangiato. You know, just 9.5 minutes of absolute brilliance. So there you go. There's my favourite 5 albums and my favourite 5 songs by Rush. Tell me what you think in the comments below. What are your favourites? Love to hear from you. Thanks very much, and I'll be back sometime soon with another video. Cheers.